Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on when you're watching this. How's it going, guys? First off, hope you're having a good day today. Hope your day's going well and hope it continues to go well. It has been over a day since the release of the new 21 Pilots album Breach, which means it's time to see how well it's been performing. 8 hours after the album came out, Breach was number 1 on iTunes in the following countries: the US, Canada, Hungary, Czech Republic, Ukraine. It was number 2 in Mexico, Netherlands, Sweden, number 3 in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Chile, number 5 in Austria, Italy, Taiwan, Guatemala, 6 in Belgium, 7 in Ireland, Thailand, 8 in Germany, 9 in France and Spain, and number 10 in Brazil. To where later on it would be number 1 in Mexico, number 2 in Austria, 2 in Spain, 3 in Ireland, 4 in Belgium, 4 in Portugal, 5 in France, and 5 in Germany. As far as Spotify goes on Breach, on September 11th, because in the US, Breach was already streaming because of the countries getting it early based on their time zones, so we do have a data for September 11th with Breach numbers streaming. So, Breach received over 1 million, if we round up, 1.3 million unfiltered streams on Spotify on September 11th. So, all the partial day numbers. Again, not a full day, unlike the drum show, the contract, but on the partial day, over 1.3 million. Rounded. Which, of course, on its partial day, City Walls was the most streamed, then Raw Fear. The least streamed one out of the bunch is Days Lie Dormant. How in the world? That is a bop. As far as Breach on the daily charts on iTunes and Apple Music, number 2, worldwide album chart, 3, European iTunes album chart, number 4, Apple Music album chart, and number 5, worldwide Apple Music album chart. And as of this morning, every single song on Breach is on the US Billboard Top 200, with City Walls sitting at number 19. Of course, that is the single going into the release. Number 50, Raw Fear, 66, Drum Show, 73, Downstairs, 78, Garbage, 90, Robot Voices, 94, The Contract, 96, Center Mass, 117, One Way, 123, Cottonwood, 136, Days Lie Dormant, 137, Tally, and Intentions at 163. This is huge. And going back to City Walls, it's at number 19 on the US Spotify chart with over 800,000 streams. It also debuted at number 47 on the global Spotify chart with 2.5 million streams. Again, the difference between those is just US numbers and worldwide numbers together. They managed to jump up to number 14 on Top Artists Global. And Breach made it to the Spotify Global chart with the album getting 7.5 million streams. Now for the crazy bit, because it's not crazy yet. The crazy thing is that Breach debuted with rounding up 17 million streams on its first day on Spotify. It received 1.2 million on its partial day on September 11th, when it was only available in a few countries for a few hours, and 15 million streams on September 12th, which here are the numbers again. Of course, the popular one outside of the singles being City Walls, and the least popular one being Intentions. No, even City Walls surpassed the singles. And here's the crazy thing. Breach just beat Trench on its first day, because Trench, when it debuted, its first day stream numbers on Spotify were 15.2 million. Breach has over 1 million streams more than Trench on its first day. Those numbers come from our boy TOP Stats. And the crazier thing, 21 Pilots' Breach is aiming for number 1 debut on next week's Billboard 200 with over 140,000 units being sold. It will mark their first number 1 album in a decade since Blurry Face, which is absolutely phenomenal. That's why you gotta keep on streaming Breach. That's why you gotta buy the vinyls, you gotta buy the CDs, you gotta buy the digital remains, so that way it helps bolster their numbers, so that way our boys can hit their first #1 album since Blurryface. And speaking of digital remains, we have data for Drag Path, because you can actually get it on iTunes, which is cool. It's not available on Spotify, but hey, you can get it on iTunes. Good for you guys. And the digital remains sat at #4 in the US iTunes charts, while Breach was at #1, so 20 Pilots occupy the top 5 in 2 slots. And this is how Drag Path has performed in the iTunes charts, hitting #1 in Finland, Hungary, Latvia, Slovakia, and Ukraine, 2 in Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Poland, 3 in Ireland, Norway, 5 in Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, #6 in Austria, New Zealand, Sweden, and the United States, #7 in the United Kingdom, and #10 in Moldova. Fun fact for you, Breach is the first lore album without reference to the album's title in its closing track. Because if you think about it, Blurryface, I got 2 faces, Blurry's the one I'm not. Trench, in Trench, I'm not alone. Scale Nicey, scaled back and isolated. Clancy, hello Clancy. And yes, Breach is found in the opening track, but we're not counting that because it's not the closing track. But that is all I got for you. So insane performance so far from Breach. Gotta keep on streaming that album because, again, 1,500 streams equal 1 album sold. That's how it works. If you stream the entirety of Breach 1,500 times, that equals 1 unit being sold. So that's how well it's performing. So keep on keeping on. Keep on jamming Breach, guys. Thank you to our supporters on Patreon. Make It With Alex, Linux, Linda Dioscar, and there's more of you. Hold on. Torchbearer, Bandito, and Mr. Han. Thank you guys for support over on Patreon. Link to that in the description box below, as well as to the channel's Ko-Fi, where you can buy the boy coffee, keep the boy sane, because I need it with all the 21 Pilots going on, and also the lack of sleep and having to be at work at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Goodbye, and good night, more importantly, have a good day, and I'll see you later.